When you think of the Maldives, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's those overwater bungalows, right? That perfect, crystal clear turquoise water. It is paradise. But behind that idyllic image lies one of the most complex logistical puzzles on the entire planet. So let's really get into the heart of that challenge. And this is the fundamental question, isn't it? We're not talking about getting champagne to a fancy resort. We're talking about getting food, medicine, and just the basic everyday supplies to citizens across a territory that is 99% ocean. Just look at that number for a second. 1,192 islands. I mean, try to wrap your head around coordinating a national delivery system across that kind of geography. It is absolutely staggering. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to break down exactly how the Maldives is tackling this head-on. We'll kick things off with the daily challenge, then dive into the government's national blueprint, look at the 3 pillars of their new system, how they're climate-proofing it, and finally, how they're going to make sure it all actually works. You see, for the people actually living on these islands, unreliable supply chains mean constant uncertainty. It's waiting for a ferry that might be delayed for days because of the weather, just wondering when the next shipment of essential goods is going to arrive. This isn't just an inconvenience, it is a daily reality that affects absolutely everything. So to solve this massive problem, the government has come up with this incredibly comprehensive strategy. It's called the National Logistics and Inter-Island Connectivity Policy. And this isn't some small fix, it's a complete reimagining of how the entire country connects with itself. And this quote pretty much says it all. Unified, that means getting everybody on the same page. Resilient and efficient, well, that's about making it reliable and fast. And climate adaptive, that's the big one. That is all about survival in a region that's on the front lines of serious environmental threats. This is about future-proofing the entire nation. Okay, so how do you actually build this vision? Well, the entire policy rests on 3 core pillars, and each one is designed to work together to create this seamless end-to-end system. And the way to think about it is actually pretty cool. You've got a physical backbone to literally move the goods, a digital nervous system to manage all the information, and an environmental shield to protect both the system and the fragile ecosystem it operates in. So this first pillar is all about the hardware, the nuts and bolts of the operation. It's about creating a predictable, totally reliable network of ships and ports. You can honestly think of it as a national highway system, just built for the sea lanes that connect all the atolls. Now, the word that's really interesting here is integrated. This isn't just about throwing more boats into the water. No way. It's about creating a single, cohesive system where every single part, the ports, the ferries, the local delivery, all work perfectly in sync. And here's how they're pulling it off. First, a scheduled ferry grid with public timetables, so no more guesswork. Second, you've got 3 major regional hubs that are going to act as the main sorting centers for the entire country. And third, they're standardizing the kinds of ships they use to make sure they can safely navigate all those shallow reefs and harbors. It is all about creating predictability. Okay, so if the first pillar was the body, pillar 2 is the brain. This is the digital nervous system. The Maldives is literally leaping from a world of paperwork and phone calls into a fully digital, data-driven system, and this is where the efficiency is going to get a massive, massive upgrade. So what does this mean in the real world? It means one single digital system for all the ports, so a container can be tracked from the ship to the shore without a hitch. It means customs and shipping agents can clear goods online, which is going to slash waiting times. And maybe most importantly, it means mandatory real-time tracking, so everyone knows where everything is all the time. Now, this third pillar is absolutely critical. The Maldives' entire economy, its very existence, depends on its pristine marine environment. So this logistics revolution has to be green. This pillar is designed to protect the very ecosystem that the country relies on for its survival. And you can really see the 2 sides of that shield here. On the left, you've got proactive protection, stuff like using digitally mapped sea lanes to avoid precious reefs, requiring special shallow draft vessels, and using eco-friendly moorings to prevent anchor damage. Then on the right, you've got reactive resilience, using real-time weather data to reroute ships around storms and setting up emergency corridors for when a disaster does strike. And let's just double down on that climate proofing for a second. For an island nation, this is not some abstract, far-off concept. It's about dealing with powerful monsoons and rising sea levels right now. A supply chain that can't handle extreme weather is a supply chain that's guaranteed to fail. So, the policy defines climate resilience as the ability to just keep working even through the harshest conditions. And that means building ships that can handle rough seas, having ports that can actually withstand storm surges, and having backup plans ready to go at a moment's notice.
A great plan is one thing, but making it actually happen, that's a whole other ballgame. So the final piece of this puzzle is all about governance. Who's in charge, and how will they be held accountable for delivering on all these promises?
Well, the government is establishing a brand new body, the National Logistics Coordination Authority, or NLCA for short. And its one and only job is to oversee this entire framework, from the planning and regulation all the way to performance monitoring. And the NLCA is not going to do it alone, not by a long shot. Responsibility is clearly divided up across the whole system. You've got the ministries setting the rules, the port operators managing the tech, local island councils handling the on-the-ground needs, and private companies who now have to comply with these new national standards. It really is a shared effort. And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How do you go from a policy on a piece of paper to real-world results that you can actually measure? The answer is data. It's all about the data. They've set out very specific key performance indicators, or KPIs. They'll be tracking everything. Are deliveries on time? How long does it take to get a container through a port? Are all the inhabited islands actually being serviced? And critically, how quickly can the system bounce back after a big storm? Success here isn't just a vague feeling, it's a number. So, when you put it all together, the physical backbone, the digital brain, and the environmental shield, you realize that this is so much more than just a logistics upgrade. It is a comprehensive plan for national survival, for connectivity, and for prosperity well into the 21st century. And that leaves us with a final thought. As climate change and global supply chain issues become more and more pressing, could this tiny island nation, famous for its beaches, actually be creating a blueprint for resilience that could inspire other vulnerable nations all around the world? It's a really fascinating question to think about.